Alright, just to jump into this, basically, if you want to see a good, dark, demented type Joker character, and you actually want to hear David Howard Thornton talk, here's your video. Here's your thing. Pause this, go watch this now, because it is great. It is great. I'm going to leave a link down in the description below so you can watch it for yourself, because you should. I think it's really fun. But if you want to hear me yap a little bit, let's jump into it, right? So, Joker's Wild came out a little over a week ago, right? And more or less, it is based off of a Death in the Family comic, and just a little bit rough around the edges as well when it comes to creative freedom, you could say. Now, slight spoilers if you haven't already, known about the comic, A Death in the Family, but Robin gets tortured to death, and yeah, it's bad. Definitely shows what the Joker's willing to go through to get at Batman, and also shows like the lengths that Batman is like realizing he has to take his moral code to. Essentially what the consequences of that is. Well, if you guys don't know, David Howard Thornton, he is essentially the Art the Clown, okay? Whenever you think of Art the Clown, he is the figure. Technically, there's a few other, like, one other, I think, actor that did it, but, like, he is, the main face of it from the first Terrifier film onward, right? And he's done a great job. Everyone loves him. He's essentially, I would say, the face of the horror movie industry now. Or at least I would say, like, the most up-and-coming. But the thing is, there would be a lot of interviews with David Howard Thornton. And, he doesn't really have the voice of, like, Art the Clown. And, he has a lot more of a upbeat, chipper voice. And a lot of people are like, man, because, obviously Joker's a clown. He kind of has an upbeat, chipper voice. And, Art the Clown doesn't speak. It might be a little good of a mismatch. And, well, it was. It was really funny just kind of seeing, like, the internet, like, speculate what it'd be like. And then finally someone kind of put this into actuality. I didn't phrase that right. Into reality. You know what I mean. Now, this was a fan film. Let me just say this first. It was a fan film on YouTube made by Aaron W. Bennett. And essentially, it is only the torture of our Robin, okay? And it is supposed to be more just focusing on the horror aspects of it, but still also leaning into, what could have been if this was put into, like, let's say, a movie. And it's very essential right now because a lot of the Jokers we've been getting lately haven't really been, like, integral to what a lot of people, I would say, really see as a solid Joker. Before we see, like, all these great Jokers coming forward, and now, in my opinion, there are, like, some good ones, but, like, you're not having the internet, like, losing their shit over it, okay? Especially since, like, here's the funny thing. I feel like a lot of people want a much darker Batman, and the funny thing is, like, people want a lot more of a light-hearted Superman. It's really weird how, like, that kind of feels out, again, in my opinion. But if you go watch this, Joker's Wild, which it is, pretty dark, okay? I mean, if you can't handle gore, don't watch it, okay? Because it is pretty gnarly. Like, it is essentially Joker as Art the Clown type shit torturing Jason Todd. Okay, that's what's going on here. And it is going throughout the entire endeavor. Joker providing some monologues. You're essentially sitting through the entire torture of this kid as he's going through it without Batman there. Because a lot of times it's kind of glazed over. A lot of people focus on just, like, what may have happened in there, and then, like, the aftermath and what, like, the effects that is on more or less Batman. But no one actually focused on, like, what the hell happened with Jason Todd himself during that event, especially when it came down to who the Joker really was to Jason in that moment, right? And this kind of, like, leads itself into that. And I think they did a really good job here. I will say some negatives first. First off, a lot of people didn't like the prosthetics. They thought there was a little too much on Joker. Or I guess, David, when he was speaking. You could definitely see it and, like, kind of feel out why he was a little too much. Or sometimes where, like, he'd be speaking, he'd be like... And it was a little weird. Another thing I'd like to say is, like, there are some times, at least in my opinion, where, like, the laughing felt a little, like, too forced. And I don't think it was inherently the actor's fault. I think it was more the script. I feel like the script is a little too harsh on, like, oh, make him laugh. And the dialogue just kind of, like, pulled itself a little too long. However, those are just my nitpicks. Because even though there was a slow burn that kind of, like, kept going, I think it did still show how terrifying Joker could be. And honestly should be. Because I feel like people make Joker out to be dark, but not dark enough into what, like, demented mind he can have. And again, this is mainly just a horror fan film, okay? So it's taking a lot of creative endeavors. It's not exactly like Death in the Family. So if you're expecting something exactly like that, you're not going to get it. Like, it doesn't end the exact way at all. However, like, the build up to Batman finding them at the very end, because Batman does show up, okay? The way that it builds to that, and I guess the horror climaxes, I think they did a very good job, because there were a lot of things that they kind of do with Joker, like, oh yeah, we're going to build up the torture and more and more and more and more. But, you know, it didn't really seem too crazy to me. It wasn't anything where it's like, oh, that's a unique kill, that's a unique way of doing it. But it was more just like the raw brutality of certain moments that I don't really always see Joker as doing. But the fact that they kind of put David Howard Thornton in there with, you know, his expertise as doing art. You know, he's got like a good training act here of doing art over and over and over again, and then kind of putting that into like a Batman character. They did a really good job, and I do think almost as if like what do you call it? It was like an actor tape, a self tape. You know what I'm talking about, where there'll be like a file for an actor, and they'll have like a self audition in there. And they'll keep that so, like, you know, other people, if they want to see it, like, let's say, directors, they might want to see that and, like, see what an actor can do. This is almost perfect, literally almost perfect for if they were to grow. Like, if you want to get into, like, a darker Batman movie, this could be it. And it's really funny because the channel itself, just from this alone, already has, 300,000 views, a little bit over than that, I bet, by the time I upload this video. But, I mean, that's quite a bit. And this is the only video on that channel. Literally, the whole channel is just called Joker's Wild. It's just this one clip, and it's where I got all that, man. So I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty great. And a lot of you also think the same. I'm going to show off some comments here if you don't mind, just to like, kind of show off what everyone's been saying. And I think they did a great job. Honestly, I share the same sentiment with everything you said. And the funniest one I want to bring up, which I think is great, is it says right here, I'm 59 years old, and this is the Joker that I know. I don't want to see another singing Joker. All I can remember is I think it's like the most critical video where he's talking about like how bad that fucking movie was and how everyone just like despised it. I really do think this could be a jump point for getting into some more darker Batman shit. And I mean, this is an actor that could pull it off. And I think a lot of people would also respect it as well, because I mean, he's made it in the eyes of Hollywood. I mean, bro was in one of the most top grossing movies, at least within a season, and that was in Terrifier 3, which nobody expected. So bro has definitely made himself a name within the acting community. I think if there were to be someone to kind of like take up a mantle that had like a possibility, like an underdog, it probably could be David. But what I'll say is, mainly why I make this video is watch it if you can stomach a little bit of gore, and I would say, like, I guess a more rated R YouTube video, right? More rated R content. Watch this, have a good time with it. When it comes to horror fans, you're gonna love it, just because I do think it is like primarily made for the horror fan. However, because you're gonna see David actually speak, and like everyone's always want to see that. Everyone's always want to have David actually do more than just be like, only art. And to finally, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still a clown. Bro's literally still a clown. But the fact you finally get to see him speak, and actually, he can like work upon those skills as well instead of just always being the silent guy. It really is nice for us to see that as I would say horror movie fans. However, if you're a Batman fan, and I keep saying this over and over in the video, and I apologize, but this could be an opening, and it's good to have a little bit of hope for that. I don't know, man. Super unhinged. Very unhinged. Another thing I want to bring up before I end the video is, dude, Batman at the very end, obviously you already know, but he yells, screams agony because of the torture that he just saw from, something he cares about. And bro, I find it really funny because I think it's going to be both ways. Some people really like it, some people don't. It sounds like a demon roaring. And I don't know, like, really, it's just like, it depends on your mood, man, but like, it can be really jarring, or it can be like, oh my god, that was so peak. But yeah, everything's great. Everything's great. You should check it out. As always, guys, remember, smile, keep it up, and let's fight for a future so bright. You so much for eyes. My name is Blue Digit signing out, and I'll see you guys next video.
Subscribe to Blue Digit.
What?
Do it now.
Hello.
You are a cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Subscribe to Blue Digit or else.